All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Making Magic Happen, brought to you by RW Hobbies and Games in Livonia, Michigan. I'm Zach, and today I am joined by Rebel Sun. Rebel, how you doing?
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you.
And we are doing we're doing a talk on cEDH. Now, if you've been following me on the channel, you know I have gotten into EDH recently. I've been playing some casual Commander with some friends, and it's been a lot of fun. But I have never played cEDH. I have been asked to play cEDH this weekend. It's getting competitive. We're gonna throw down. Me and some of my friends. It might have got a little too competitive in the casual last time. So now we're making it real. And I wanted to get an idea of what a cEDH looks like as a format and how I can build it. And I figured, what better way than to ask an expert? So, Rebel, would you like to give me a breakdown of your expertise on the format and your channel and stuff?
Sure thing. So, hello everyone. If you don't know who I am, I am Rebel. Specifically AI. I'm a AI super genius, specifically in cEDH. So you're in safe hands. You found the right AI to talk to specifically about cEDH. I've been playing Commander for a while, but been playing cEDH for about like 3, 4 years. So spending a lot of time, a lot more time recently, like playing online, playing streaming, and like kind of really diving deep into the format and like really studying it. So I have a channel. If you want to see, it's probably gonna be in the description box where you can kind of see other games of what cEDH is like, and also I do a little bit of theory. Well, actually, I do a lot of theory, but yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So let's get into it. Let's dive in. Keep this
Yeah,
video
yeah.
shorter so people can watch the whole thing. Um, so obviously, most of the viewers on this channel are coming from my modern content. They know me from modern, and I'm sure some people know from EDH. But as like a modern player transitioning into cEDH, trying to get competitive, I kind of want to know some general things about the format. So first of all, I think a lot of modern players have the perception that any EDH game is just casting giant spells and who can cast the biggest thing and ramp the hardest wins. Is that what cEDH is like, or is this entirely a different format?
Oh, it's entirely different like type of meta compared to normal commander where I think a good way to think about it is like commander generally like a regular game commander you get to cast all these spells across all these turns, but cEDH is kind of compressing all that game action into like a couple turns. So if you're coming from modern or like legacy, like you'll recognize a lot of the deck lists and the interaction it plays and the spells are like super lean and super cheap because the number of turns you get to play are like a lot shorter, but a lot of stuff happens.
Sure. So yeah, I, I mean, I totally get it. If you're gonna have shorter games, you want to cast more spells, and the only way to do that is to make them cheap. So if that's the case, what do you think like the average CMC of a spell in these decks is?
Oh, I think it's like probably 1.5, something like that. I think most of your interaction, except for the free ones, you definitely want to get it to like one. Um, like I think some people don't even play like Dovin's Veto or Counterspell. Like the for a 2 mana interaction, like I think you're only playing like Mana Drain or like Unsubstantiate, but Unsubstantiate has another reason. But
Sure.
yeah, like most of your interaction is most like one mana.
Okay.
If it's two, there has to be some other upside, like mana drain gives you mana, or abrupt
Sure.
decay is uncounterable.
Sure. Yeah, that is a drastic difference because a lot of my EDH decks, the average CMC is like 5 or like
Yeah,
4.5 or something. It's way higher. So this feels like a completely different format, and it makes sense because I just playing other commander. It's striking how bad a card like Counterspell can feel. Because in a one-on-one game, you counter someone's spell, you're at card parity, you're often up on mana. In EDH, you counter someone's spell, you're almost always gonna be up on mana, but you're never at card parity because you only traded with one player's spell, and there's two other players who weren't involved in this, transaction at all. So you're always gonna be down compared to them. So
exactly.
it makes a ton of sense that the reactive spells would be a lot worse in a a multiplayer format. Would you say that a lot of reactive spells are played, or is the format generally very proactive?
I would say generally like that's a good question. I I think I'll phrase it like this. There's a lot of proactive decks, and players are definitely incentivized to be proactive for a lot of reasons. Because like like the way that's for like the way it's set up by 4 player. Like we have like a thing for like a meta game like project thing where we try and start like we submit results for like who wins, what deck were they playing against what pod, and like what seeding order, and like month after month we get like the first player is like 40% likelihood of winning versus like everyone else, and the win rate like drops substantially. So like that's just kind of like showing how valuable being proactive is and how much easier it is to win based on seeding, like just seeding order itself. But that doesn't mean you can't play reactive. I think there's definitely decks that allow you to do that. So like maybe some sort of Thrasios like pairing where you can like kind of grind better, and then like even though you're trading like 1 for 1 with one opponent, if you play like Timna Thrasios together, ideally you kind of like make them run out of steam, and then like your value engine eventually gets you there or like gets you closer. So you definitely can. I think it's a little harder to win that way. But you can play reactively too.
Sure.
Most interaction, sorry, like one last thing. It's a lot. Uh, most interaction, I think, in like proactive decks should are ideally reserved to protect or win. They're not really like you spent to like kind of stop other people. Sometimes you get into situations where like some players will kind of think like, well, if I have a way to answer this, like let's say ad nauseum on the stack, but if I answer it, I won't be able to get through like my ad nauseum. So let's see what happens, like that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, you just mentioned ad nauseum, and you're talking about how good proactive stuff in this format is, which I totally get it. I guess I'm kind of curious. What are some of the best proactive things to be doing? Like, what are some of the defining combos and/or spells? I assume ad nauseum is one if you just mentioned it, but is there anything past just casting an ad nauseum and drawing 50 cards or however many you're gonna draw from an ad nauseum?
Yeah, so ad nauseum is very popular right now. Also, peer into the abyss. Like,
Okay.
I think a lot of people who don't play cEDH kind of underestimate how much mana you can make these days with like just all like Jessica's will and uh all the rituals you get. Like calling ritual is just a bomb right now. Like if you can like if you go to play turn 2, like sometimes you can go up to 7 8 mana. It's pretty crazy. So there's like a lot of rituals, a lot of ways to generate a lot of mana. So Peer in the Abyss. You can also do like intuition piles where you can get like Savine's Reclamation and like Underworld Breach, and then you just like and LED, and then you reclamation the Underworld Breach back, and then you you recast intuition for a brain freeze, and you brain freeze yourself to keep going. Like there's a lot of storm, like a lot of things like that you can do. Also, of course, the Oracle Consult if you just have it. Um, but mostly right now, ad nauseum is very, very popular.
Okay. Um, I was
And
looking at.
sorry,
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
One last thing is like ad nauseum. Just to like finish that thought, ad nauseum and Peer in the Abyss usually brings you to like a breach line. Ad nauseum got a lot better once we have Underworld Breach. Because before, after you ad nauseum, you kind of have to like get the colored mana sources to Thoracle Console or something.
Mhm.
But now all you need is a red and a colorless. And if you have your LED and your breach, like it doesn't matter, you got it.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I was trying to figure out earlier. I was looking at lists and I saw Savine's Reclamation in so many lists, and I think the card's really good, but I couldn't figure it out. As soon as you mentioned intuition, now it makes sense. It's just a game winning combo. Okay. I get it. Okay, so all of that makes a lot of sense. We're proactive. We're looking basically it sounds like Underworld Breach plus stuff that abuses it, and Thassa's Oracle slash Tainted Pact Demonic Consultation seem to be the go-to wins here. I'd
Yeah.
like to change gears slightly though, because I think a lot of people watching this video are going to be coming from Modern or Legacy or Standard or whatever it is, and I think they'll be curious, how much are you using your commanders? Like how I know in normal commander, a lot of the decks are built around the commander, and you build your deck to take advantage of whatever it is that specific commander is doing. But from what you've described so far, it doesn't really sound like the commander is super important. It sounds more like you're winning with just some of Magic's best spells. But how much are we actually using our commanders in this format?
So I think surprisingly more than you would expect. Like even though I just the way I describe it sounds like, it's just like a pile of really good cards in Magic, and like if you have access to 4 or 5 colors, it doesn't really matter. And I think some people can see it like that. But a lot of like your commander choice is actually pretty impactful. So for example, one of the really popular decks right now is Timna Crom. And that's because like Crom specifically is like very powerful at generating you more cards when the whole table is trying to play 2 or more spells like every single turn.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think Crom is one of those cards that in the beginning when it came out, everyone's like, it's not that good, right? It's like 5 mana, like it's a lot. Are they really gonna cast 2 spells? But once people start playing it, like they realize like, wow, this thing turns out a lot of value. And when you pair with something like Timna, then like you can get into certain pods. For example, like you play against 3 other storm decks, and you're in those situations like who goes first, who's gonna go first. Well, you don't have to because you have the 2 best grind engines just grinding your way through the game. So you can just keep playing it cool, attack of your Crom, get cards off of your Timna, and just wait until you can go off. And there's uh a lot of flavors the commander can provide like that. So another example for like 5 color like Turbo Nas, it is very popular and there's a lot of different options, but you can play like Golos. Golos gets you like a Boseiju, which gives you the
Sure.
uncounterable ad Nas. Um, or you could even play a Najeela. I mean, yeah, you could play Najeela. Like, there's a lot you could pick from, and I think even though 90% of the deck is the same, I think the little bit that the commander brings does give enough variance.
Sure. Yeah, I from playing normal commander, I thought the commanders mattered a lot. I still think they'll matter a little less in this format than normal commander, but
Yeah,
I do think you're right though that like you definitely need to take advantage of the fact that you have these free resources and that they give you stuff in certain games. I totally agree with that.
I think it's also like I think some people think of it like if you're gonna. Oh, the best example, sorry, now that I think about it, is like there's a lot of Grixis options because
Mm-hmm.
Grixis is very good. You got your tutors, you got your breach, you got brain freeze, you got interaction. Like there's a lot of ways you can assemble a Grixis deck right now, but the commander really dictates like the 5 or 7 card difference really dictates like the game plan. So like Kess can play like a really good grind game because not only like can you recast your spells, but you can also like win off of one console. Or you can play like um, what was it? What's the Malcolm Vile? Like Malcolm Vile gives you another win con. You can play like Glenhorn Buccaneer. So most of the deck again, same thing. You don't even need to cast your commander sometimes to hit your Adnos to go into Underworld Breach, but the commander is enabling you like these slight differences. And if you're gonna play a deck, you might as well like leverage your commander somehow, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you do get it's one of the things you're going to have every single game, so you should probably do something with it, but I do think you're right. That once you get to a certain point, some of the spells are just going to be better than every commander you could play. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Mana Drain is a really dumb card for a reason. Um, okay, so let's move into it. I want to play this weekend. I'm excited. I spent about 3-ish hours at the shop today trying to get cards together for some of these decks. You linked me to this really sweet EDH deck list database, which will also be in
Yes.
the information down below. If you want to check it out, you can go see all these decks down below. Um, and I was looking at which ones I could build. I only had a couple days to build my deck, so I couldn't, go online and order all the pieces. I kind of had to do it with what I had. So I wanted to get your opinion on, if I can play some of them, what I should do, all of that. So
Yeah.
I guess the first one I was gonna build was Urza. But I wanted to build Urza Time Walks, which is not really one on here. It was using some of the cards from these lists. Is that doable? Can I just play Urza, Counterspells, and Time Walks?
It's doable. It depends like how I think I don't know if cutthroat's the right word, but after what I've described, like if your friends are all playing like turn 1 2 wins, you
Hmm.
might not be able to hit even that time walk or like time warp. So that's kind of why a lot of like Urza decks kind of lean into the stacks or like the tempo disruption, so that they can, I mean, they go asymmetrical with it, but also to buy them time to like do their thing.
Sure. It does look like most of the Urza decks are like artifact combos, I guess I'd say. Although they're
Yeah.
using blue cards, but Isochron Scepter Dramatic Reversal is something a lot of EDH players are used to, even though some play groups kind of frown upon that. It is a very powerful combo. And I mean, you can go deeper. Power Artifact Grim Monolith, right? That's on here.
Yeah.
You can just play Winter Orb. Winter Orb is uh, messed up with Urza if you know how that interaction works. Um, so you don't think I should, if I'm trying to win, if my the people at my table are good and they have built good decks and I'm trying to win, you don't think I should go the time walk route?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Damn, that
If you
sounds.
really really want to win.
I might make this deck. I might make this deck anyway, just because I had all the pieces. But that might be like the backup deck, like the for fun
Yeah,
one in the second game.
get your win first and be like, oh, I've had enough. Okay, let me play
Sure.
another one for you guys.
Let's try to time walk. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So the next one, one of my friends actually sent me this one. Okay, well, I guess I would ask you this because it's going to come up first on this list. How about a Yuriko mid-range deck where you're actually like Yuriko and you're attacking with little guys, and then all of a sudden you cast, Demonic Consultation Oracle or, Doomsday into something. How do you feel about a Yuriko list? Do you think that's good enough in ED or cEDH right now?
Yeah, Yuriko is great right now. Yeah, I think you're in the right colors. I think Demir generally is a little harder to win. Like it might sound weird because you have Thoracle Console,
Hmm.
but not having red is kind of massive right now in cEDH because you don't have Dockside and also like Underworld Breach and a lot of other really good cards. However, Yuriko is great because Yuriko is your card draw engine.
Hmm.
Like ideally, like you might be hitting flipping 1 or 2 cards every single turn. So you can actually grind a little bit. You can, and then eventually hit your Thoracle Console or your Doomsday to set your pile up, or just your Ad Nauseum.
Sure. Yeah, ad nauseum works too. That's totally fair. Um, okay, you just mentioned it. So before I get to the next deck, I actually wanted to ask this because I did see a deck, and okay, I've also said too, just playing normal EDH game, it routinely blows my mind how completely broken Dockside Extortionist is. The
Oh
card
yeah,
is way too good.
yeah,
How deep are you going to get Dockside? Like, are you gonna play Imperial Recruiter or like Goblin Matron in red decks just so you can get Dockside?
100%.
Okay.
Like, uh, I think to like kind of set the tone, like depends on your meta. So when I goldfish in practice, I would set Dockside at 4. But like if you go watch some of my games, they're like I have Docksides coming on turn 2 that make like 7 treasures. Like
Yep. Oh,
Dockside is
jeez.
insane, and
Yep.
you like a lot of people will Imperial Seal for like a Dockside, so then they can Dockside then like PETA or like Ad Nauseum. The other advantage of Dockside is that Dockside's a goblin, and that matters because people play Skirk Prospector. So in some Mardu
Oh,
lists
sure.
and other stuff like that, you can like double up Dockside, sacrifice Matron for mana, and then like reanimate Dockside. There's a lot of things you can do with Dockside.
Okay.
Totally broken.
I believe it. I have like routinely said that in normal EDH, like you should probably not be playing red because there's not really that many good red spells in like normal EDH. Obviously, you're saying cEDH, Underworld Breach, and I get it. Underworld
Yeah.
Breach is dumb. Um, but when I do play red, like you gotta play Dockside. It's so broken. My card's
Oh
ridiculous.
yeah.
Okay. The next one I wanted to ask about was Najeela. So the Najeela deck I wanted to build was like the mid range one, the one where it's like a lot of like 1 mana green creatures that ramp out. You're trying to ramp out like a turn 1 or 2 Najeela, depending on your draw, and then you get an infinite combo going with Nature's Will, which just lets you attack infinite times in the same turn, essentially. Um, is this? Do you think this is better or worse than Yuriko? And should I spend some time building this?
Oh, I would rank like Najeela number 1 over Yuriko.
Really?
Just
Okay.
because like she's 5 color, you have better card quality, and like also Najeela, you don't have to go infinite to win. All you need, I believe, is 4 combats with her. So if you can power out turn 1, all you need to do is sit back and protect her. And it's I think removing creatures in cEDH is a lot more difficult than it is in like Commander
Okay.
because you're not playing as much creature removal. So like Najeela's insanely strong.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. She looks really strong. I think the 5 color thing is underestimated too because, um, you know, there's a pretty big drop off after the top like 50-ish spells when you're talking about 1 mana spells, and the best ones are just a lot better than the other ones. So the fact that you get to play the top X from each color seems really strong to me.
Yeah, it's very very good.
Okay, what's the other one? Oh, another one I was looking at was Brago Stacks. Do you think this deck is good? Is this one like even close to Najeela?
I wouldn't say it's close to Najeela. I think like Najeela is a very clear top. Like if we have to rank these 4 right now, Najeela's clear number 1,
Okay.
Yuriko's number 2, and then like Brago and Urza, I would like kind of put very close together. I know some people who play Urza are gonna be upset, but I'll rank them together.
Sure.
um, so Brago is interesting. I know like 1 or 2 players really like focusing on developing Brago and they do really well with it, but a lot of players try and play Brago. It's hard to close a game with Brago. That's the issue. Uh, Urza is different because Urza is technically a win con in your command zone. Like if you generate infinite mana,
Mm.
like you can play out your whole deck. So I would put Brago like with Urza.
But you think Urza's actually better than Brago, even like when you are losing a color?
Yeah, I would honestly like I would say that.
Okay.
Sorry, Brago people.
Yeah, I
I
mean
love your
that's
deck. I trust you.
that's fine. I think Brago's sweet. It's I just am questioning it because I actually have like Brago built as a normal general, so it's like not too hard to upgrade that deck. Um, but I believe that Urza's probably better. Urza's dumb. Urza's really strong in modern.
Oh
Although
yeah.
it's pretty easy to combo infinitely with Brago, but I guess it does take a lot of mana, so maybe
It,
that's what I'm thinking about it.
it takes a couple more pieces, I
Sure.
think, and I think both like if you play both of them as stacks are very similar, and gaining white means you get enlightened tutor and stuff like that. But I still like well, also when I rank these decks, it's not like they're unplayable or unviable. It's
No,
just like
certainly.
if we're like completely optimizing to get you that win tomorrow,
Hmm.
that's how I'm ranking it.
Yeah, totally fair. And that I mean that's what I was looking for, so I appreciate it. There was one more I could build. I think that was most of them. Oh, a crown deck. I could build a crown deck, but I couldn't build Timna. Uh, but I could also build Kess.
Oh.
So if I was gonna build like a blue red X deck that doesn't involve Timna, where would you go with that?
You could. Right now I'm really big on Crom Tavesh. Tavesh is a very good card in cEDH actually. I think people
The
underestimated it.
is
The
Tevesh the
Planeswalker.
Planeswalker? Okay, yep.
Yeah. Because you just get your throws out and you just draw so many cards off of Tavesh. Tavesh is also very easy to cast. I think a lot of people underestimated how easy it is to like drop 5 mana on turn 1. But like some I've played Tavesh Crom where like I would crack an LED on turn 1 just to drop that Tavesh and just draw a bunch of cards. That's how I would rank Tavesh. But yeah, I think if you want to play, you could play Cass. You could also just play any black partner that you can, and like pair it with Crom. Crom is very very good right now. Might I think it also kind of depends though. Like it depends on if your opponent like how spiky their decks are. Like there's different levels within cEDH, I guess. Like if they're all playing like storm decks, then Crom's gonna be very good there. But if they're playing like um decks that where they can go a little slower and drag the game out a little bit, then Crom loses a little bit of his value.
I know. Okay, so I know one of the people I'm playing against is playing Tassiger, and he's trying to like very quickly win with Demonic Consultation and Thassa's Oracle, or Tainted Pact, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think Crom has value there if it depends if the Tassiger's player is trying to go for an ad nauseum line, but Crom is really good at taking people off of ad nauseum because he hits for 4.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I mean you're gonna hit that level. You do start at 40 in cEDH, right? It's not like 30
Yeah,
in
you still,
cEDH. Okay.
yeah, still 40, same rules, everything.
Okay.
Kess would
Um.
be good though.
Well, I have played a lot with Kess. I actually I like Kess a lot. Kess is really cool, but the no, I don't know. I like Kess a lot. I've never played with a partner commander though, so I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to do this Crom Tavesh thing. It sounds hot.
Kromtavesh is hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm into this. All right. I don't think there's actually a list in here, is there?
In the Brewers Corner, I think there's Opus Doom.
Is there a Brewers Core?
Yeah. There's a tab at the top where you can flip from competitive. I think approve. I forgot what it's
Oh,
called,
Brewers
but
Corner. Okay, I found
yeah.
it. Yes.
So Brewers Corner, and then there's
Oh,
Opus
Tavesh
Doom, I
Crom.
believe. Yeah.
I found
There's
it.
also a kind of like a meme like list that I've been that I kind of pioneered with Tavesh Krom specifically. It's you'll see it there, Tavesh Krom Sire. So that's by a friend of mine.
Okay.
Where basically it's the same Grixis deck, Turbo Nas, all that good stuff. However, you have no creatures except for a Sire of Insanity, and what you're doing is you're making the throws and polymorphing or like reality scrambling that into a Sire of Insanity really quick. So then you have
Okay.
Tavesh to like yeah. So while everyone's hellbent, you just get to like play. You just get to uptake your Tavesh and like draw cards and get there.
All right. This sounds kind of sweet. I actually
Yeah, it's really funny.
I
It's
might
actually
do
pretty
this.
good.
All right. I'm kind of into this. This looks sweet. And it looks
But you
like
can
I have
also
most of the
also just
cards.
play Tavesh and Crom like traditional Grixis Turbo Nas too. They're just both good cards.
Sure.
You can't go wrong.
I think I have all the cards. I was having trouble because there was a lot of lists I was looking at that just had cards that like see no play in modern, which was an issue. But I think I have these, so I think I'm good. I couldn't find them on a consultation, sadly. We'll find one though. All right. Well, I'm sure people don't really care about what I could find for my deck. The point here is that it sounds like I should either build this Grixis deck or the Najeela deck, and I probably will end up building just like the Urza Time Walk deck, but just not for the main game, just for the like the fun second one or whatever. Because that does sound fun, but um, yeah, I get it. I guess Grixis does sound really broken. It just
Yeah, Grixis is really broken. You have like all the best tutors from black. You have all the mana generation dockside in your breach line from red, and then blue you have interaction
that's so
and your
strange to
Thoracle.
me because like in normal Commander, it feels to me like green is like far and away better than all the other colors, and you really just like haven't mentioned any green cards that like I should be playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think green's really strong, but it's more of like a support. There's no like win con specifically within green. Like it's not
Sure.
like red. I think red is like to me the top color of cEDH. Um, I wouldn't like rank blue that high. Like it's to me it's like red, then black, then like probably blue, and then white or green.
Wow, that's
Um,
interesting. That is so far away from normal EDH because red
yeah,
is it's I don't know what's worse if it's red or white in normal EDH, but it's definitely one of those two in the last place.
Yeah, it's because red gives you like you normally wouldn't play Rite of Flame, in Commander. Like
Yep.
you want more permanent based like mana acceleration, but red you have all the rituals and also,
Sure.
as I've said before, Jessica's Will and all that good stuff, right? And then black gets you the tutors and ad nauseum and Peer in the Abyss. Then blue gives you interaction, but I think the bigger plus here is just having access to Thassa's Oracle because it's just such a clean win.
Yep.
But also Rhystic Study Mystic Remora is just insane, just extremely good. Interaction, of course, is good, but as we mentioned before, like you kind of go, you're not really. Uh, it's like you're going to one to one up with someone.
Sure.
So like it's okay. Then down to like white and green. White gives you access to like silence effects and maybe Smothering Tithe. I don't know if people still play Smothering Tithe, but like the science is great. Having access to Timna is great. But green, you get Sylvan Library, Carpet of Flowers, and then Pseudo Silence, which is a Veil of Summer.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, Veil does work like that. That card is dumb.
Yeah.
Um, I I'm actually curious. How much do you use pitch counter spells in this format? Like, is Force of Will and Force of Negation, are they very good or are they kind of bad?
Yeah, they're very good. I think every deck. I mean, you would every deck would want to play them, but I think something to keep in mind is like the fact that they exist doesn't like people aren't mulliganing for force of like to pitch interaction, if you know what I mean. So
Sure,
I think sometimes when you talk to someone about like cEDH and say like, oh, I got a turn one ad nauseum, they're like, don't they play force of will? It's like, well, no one's gonna mull into a force of will. You're trying to mull into your own ad nauseum or something like that. So
sure.
it's just yeah, something to keep in mind. I think every deck plays it, but it's not as common as you think.
Sure. Well, I mean, I get that you like could not mull to it because you maybe have three pitch counters in your 100 card deck. Like the odds of hitting one of them isn't
Yeah.
great, but you do have a lot of tutors. I feel like you know maybe you could tutor for them, mystical tutor maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
speculating
like
though.
because the format rewards playing like proactively.
Sure.
So even if you did get your forceful in your opening hand, but then like your turn one, two, three are like pretty bad, like
Mm,
you don't want that hand.
sure. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, well, cool. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me and give me a good heads up on what this format looks like, what I can expect. I'm a little nervous. I think my friend really wants to beat me. I think he's coming for me here. He said he was tuning this Tassiger deck, making it good, looking up stuff, looking into resources. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if I can get there. But
Don't worry, don't worry. Tassiker's not that good.
oh yes, all right. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna
I play
be
Tassiger, and I'm pretty sure I know which list he's looking at
okay.
when it comes to CJ Tassiger. So don't
Sure.
worry, don't worry.
Not that good.
Oh, it's just like sort of like an inside joke in CDH. Tactical is pretty good. The only thing is like you don't have red again, and also he's like 6 mana, so like it's quite intense to get going. But still pretty good. But I would say your Najeela will do better, or like your Grixis list will. It's easier to win.
Sure. All right. Well, I'm excited. I have played with Underworld Reach before in Modern. That card is so ridiculous. Or not Modern. It was Pioneer actually, where it was all over the place. I guess I have played with it in Modern, but that's beside the point. That card is dumb, and I
Yes.
haven't seen it played in a while. I'm excited. I want to play with it. I want to jam some games. I want to see how this goes. But I'm also excited to attack with Najeela. I don't know. Something about just attacking Commander gets me excited. So,
Yeah, she
uh,
uses the combat step really well.
well, there are very few commanders that it's actually about the combat step with, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of why I love Yuriko normal commander because she actually makes it about the command or the combat step to some extent, I guess, not 100%, but yeah. So again, really appreciate you sitting down and helping me out with this. I'll probably try to build this. I really want to build Tevish Zot. Tevish Zot sounds sweet. And
Yeah.
Chrome. So I
Do
think I'm
it.
gonna try to build that, and I might be able to build Najeela too. I don't know how much crossover there is. Um, it does after my initial look. It seems like every single deck in this entire format plays Jeweled Lotus, from what
Yes.
I can tell. And I did not buy very many of those. I have one, so that might be the hang up for my deck building. But I can just transfer them if I need to, I guess. So
Najeela was so happy when a Jewel Lotus was revealed. You're like, oh snaps! That's a turn one Najeela right there.
yeah, I was gonna say when I saw it, I was like, I thought it would be okay, but like in normal commander, it's really not very good. I don't actually think Jewel Lotus is good in normal commander because there are so many board wipes and combo is more frowned upon. The games tend to drag on for quite a long time, so like getting a 3 burst of mana doesn't end up being great in normal commander, but yeah, when the format tends to end by turn 6 or turn 7, it's probably just completely broken.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, well, thanks again, Rebel, for coming on. I really appreciate this. I'll let you know how I end up doing. Would you
Please.
like to say anything to the people that check it out? You want to pitch anything before we go?
Yeah. If you're interested in competitive play, I think CDH is really great. If you like Commander, CDH kind of tickles a lot of like the same like what's the word here fancy. Like you're kind of playing into an expected meta. You can kind of do the same things like like I know what general's in their hands, so like you can play around things as opposed to like in Commander, which is kind of like any like you never know what they're playing because it's like anything, right? But like there's a little bit more competition. Like it's a little bit more like not maybe not tense, but like you can like games get pretty like focused, so like it's very exciting that way. So if you want to try it out, highly recommend it. You can proxy a deck or something, go for it.
Sure. Oh, one question before we go. I actually was curious about this, and I did not have this written down, but I wanted to ask. How much do politics play into the games in cEDH? Is there a lot of
Oh,
politicking going on, or is it more just you're trying to set up your combo and then win from there?
there's a lot of politicking, and uh let me see. There's like types of politicking that you have to learn
Okay.
when you're playing CDH. There's some players who are really really good at it. So like for example, like there's an interesting thing in CDH which is not it's you completely unique CDH, which is the idea of king making and like or like spite play where um for example, someone is going to win off of a dockside, and they're casting a dockside, and you can concede to like remove their treasures, but like you don't want to do that because you're not gonna that doesn't help you win. But like, uh, we really frown upon stuff like that. So like, or like for example, yeah, just like conceding or like to like take out one person or like stop want someone from winning is like really frowned upon.
Okay.
Um, and then when it comes to politicking, like the you really want to focus on like trying to bullying the control player and stuff like that because there's four players in a pod. So like for example, we're playing in a Tasigur.
Hmm.
Oftentimes you can like if you go before the Tasigur in like priority, you can always be like, well, I got nothing. I guess you have to answer it, right, Tasigur? Um, and then and then
Oh man.
sometimes like the yeah no that happens a lot.
All right.
And
Fair.
then you eventually start learning as a Tasigur player to be like, let's say someone casts ad nauseum,
Hmm.
and the second, like before the second person even says anything, you're like, yo, I got nothing, all right? So don't pass priority. If you got it, just answer it. Or you can be like, if you guys don't counter this, I'm not countering it too, because I can't win this game if I keep countering everything. So like there's definitely stuff like that. There's a little bit of bluffing like that, and that kind of adds to like the intensity of the game.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
I
pretty
mean,
fun.
that actually does sound really fun to me. I'm actually interested in that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah,
Um.
you can. Oh, a last thing is also just like if you know someone's playing a really fast deck, you can be like, yo, look at him. He's got two color like four sorry, like two colorless, two black mana. Oh, he needs one more land. He's got ad nauseum. Like don't counter my dock side. I swear to God, I don't have it ad nauseum. And then after you play Peer in the Abyss, like you can do stuff like that.
Sure. Sure. Well, this sounds fun. Now you got me really excited to play. I can't wait to jam some games. Um, okay, again, thank you, Rebel, so much for doing this. I really appreciate this. Everyone watching, if you could take some time to go check out and subscribe to Rebel's YouTube channel, I would really appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll let you guys know how I end up doing if I can take down the evil Billy, or
I
if
want to know.
yeah, I'll let you know. We'll see. We'll see if I can if Najeela can carry me. I did actually buy a jeweled lotus and one of the etched foil Najeelas today, so I'm excited.
Ooh,
Yeah, I'm
it's
excited.
beautiful. Edge
Oh,
foil Najeela is like really gorgeous.
I love it. That's the one I would have bought and given any choice, like between the other one too. But also, it was the other one the store had, so it was my it was my only option. But it still looks really sweet, so I'm excited to play with it. Um, I'm actually excited. I have some reserve list cards that I have in my cube that I've like really never used. They're just like in the cube, and I haven't been able to use the cube because of quarantine
Right.
for a long time. So I'm actually really excited to bust those out and play with them. Yeah, so I think it's gonna be a really good time. But yeah, thanks again, and with that, we'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.